This is Tom Rudick, and he is going to talk today about Azure Mobile Services, near and dear to us here in Seattle. Take it away, Tom.
Hey guys, my name's Tom. I work on Windows Azure as a developer, and I'm going to talk to you guys about Windows Azure Mobile Services. How many people have heard of mobile services? All right, cool. How many have actually used them? All right, it was like 2 people maybe. Cool. That's why I'm here. All right, so I'm not really good. Okay, why don't the slides go to the next one? Not sure why the slides are stuck. Let's just do it this way. It's a lot easier. So I'm not really good at making slides, so I'm going to keep slides down to a minimum, and I'm just going to talk for a little bit, then give a really, really long demo, and then there'll be slightly more talking at the end, if that's okay. So mobile services are a backend as a service running on Windows Azure. So if you're writing a mobile app or a Windows 8 app and you need cloud storage and a cloud-enabled application, you can use mobile services to do that. And it's kind of a turnkey approach for data storage, user authentication, push notifications, and server-side logic. Essentially, this means that you don't have to set up servers and stuff. We take care of that for you. So why am I here talking to you about this stuff? It's because we love JavaScript on mobile services. Actually, mobile services are written almost entirely in node.js on the backend and are deployed on top of Azure. So everything, when you set up a service, it'll run through IIS and then IIS node and into our node runtime. And we're currently in public preview, so you can check us out now. If you come and talk to us at the Azure booth, you can learn more about it. So let's just run into the demo. Okay. So this is the Azure portal, and I have a whole bunch of mobile services that I've created. And creating a new mobile service is really easy. Just say new, create, Tom app. And you need to select a SQL database. So everything with mobile services, all your data is stored within SQL. And that sounds kind of weird because it's, you don't really hear JavaScript and SQL going together that much. But we try to make it as dynamic as possible. So if you insert data into the SQL database, we'll intercept that and we'll look at all the fields and make sure they're there and dynamically schematize your database, and you never really have to drop down to SQL if you don't want to. You don't have to create tables using SQL or alter tables or anything like that. We take care of that just completely for you, and you don't really even know that it is SQL actually. And if this is going to create, let's go. Okay, so this will create. It just takes a couple minutes. Don't really need to worry about that. I've already created another app for CascadiaJS. So we can click on the app, and we have this dashboard, which will show us a whole bunch of information about our running app. We can see how many API calls there are, the data in and data out, our CPU usage, and a whole bunch of other stuff. I mentioned earlier that you can do really easy user authentication, and we have this identity tab where you can just come in, put in your client secrets and app IDs for Microsoft accounts, Facebook, Twitter, and Google, and we will log you in with one line of code from your application. So if you're writing a mobile or a Windows 8 app, you just have to put one line of code in, say I want to log in with Facebook, and we will take care of the OAuth flow and everything else for you. It's really, really easy. So I switch over to data. So these are the tables that I have in my application that are storing data. They correspond to my SQL tables, but you really don't have to worry about that. Just know that these are tables somewhere, they're being stored. And I can click into these, and it will show me, I can look at the columns that are currently there and what is in this data format, and I can set permissions on these. And the thing that I want to talk about most today is a script. So we have this REST API where you can go to your service /tables/ whatever your table name is, and you can do just regular CRUD operations. And those will insert into whatever table you are. So for each CRUD operation, we give you this opportunity to write some node.js that will just execute in the server whenever one of these CRUD operations is executed. So there's this little drop down here, insert, update, delete, and read. And we can just click into any of these and just write node.js right here in the browser. This is just an editor for JavaScript in your browser. You're writing real node.js, and we will save it, and we will run it whenever you hit that URL. So I have this app that I've been building called Do2, and it's an app for making lists, sharing them with friends. Hopefully the internet is working. Let's try to launch this again. So I haven't wrote it very well, it seems. Do you by any chance have like a network cable I could use? Or just cool. All right. Let's see. Let's give it one more shot. Okay, perfect. All right, so now the service is running, connecting to Azure Mobile, and it's asking me to log in with Live ID. This is what I was talking about before with the really easy user login. So I'm just going to log in quickly and keep me signed in. Okay. So I'm going to create a new list. And this is going up to Azure and saving this in SQL, and I'll show you later there's very little code you have to write. So I can add a new item as well. This will get saved. So if I switch back over to the portal here, let me just get it. So when I insert an item, on the items table, the insert script will get executed. And as I mentioned before, this is just regular Node.js, and we give you a whole bunch of globals that you can use to kind of interact with the system. So for example, there's an MS SQL variable that you can use that uses the Node SQL driver, and you can just write T-SQL if you wanted to, or we also have this really cool kind of like a query language that's similar to Link in JavaScript that you can use to query your data. So right now, whenever anyone inserts an object, I just want to get their currently authenticated username and add it to the object that they are inserting. So if I just going to throw this code in and walk through it. Can everybody see this? Okay, looks all right. So I'm just getting this item, which is the first parameter of this insert function that's getting passed in. This is what they're posting on the wire up to us. The second parameter is this user object, which is when they log in with Live or Facebook or anything else, will automatically get populated with their authentication data. And you're guaranteed to know that that's the person who's actually there on the other side, and we take care of that for you. And then the last parameter, the request object, is kind of how you deal with this request. So it's how you respond to it, how you actually execute what happens. It's the control flow for the app. So here I'm just getting this item from the user. It doesn't have a created date timestamp or anything on it, so I'm doing that. I'm adding the user ID to the item, and then I'm doing this query where I have this other table called profiles, and I'm just looking up for the user with a matching user ID. So profile table.where, user ID is user ID, and then I add their name to the item and call request.execute, which essentially saves everything to the database. So now if I just save this, this is saved, it's in production now, it's working. I can switch back over to the app, add a new item. And now when this item comes down, you can see that my name is now attached to the item. And it's just really easy server-side JavaScript to do that kind of stuff. Okay. So now I'm just going to switch over to, since this is mobile services, I'm going to switch over to my iPhone, which is also running the same app, but written for iOS. And I can see the same lists and everything over here. Come on, internet. I should have crafted a less internet-intensive demo, I think. OK, perfect. So I have the list up on my phone. Sorry, I don't have a projector. And I'm just going to add another item. So this is going to go and add the item. And I'm going to just stay here. It's added on the phone, and I can go and click refresh, and it will refresh. And now I have this new item in. But the experience of that was really weird. Like, the data's in the cloud, but it's not really syncing to all my devices. So it would be really cool if I could send a push notification to everyone who's subscribed to this list to just get the data. So I'm going to just copy a bit more of code in here. And essentially what we're saying now is, OK, execute the request just like we did before, which saves everything in the database. And when that finishes, respond to the user, and then asynchronously send notifications to everyone who is in the system. So like I mentioned before, you can just use the regular node SQL driver to communicate with SQL. So I'm just doing this inner join here to get everyone who is on the list. And this is just using the SQL driver as is. And once that's done, I can send push notifications out. And sometimes push notifications are really difficult to send. We make it super easy by just giving you this push.wns object. And then you just essentially, in one line of JavaScript, can say, push to this Windows 8 device, or push to this Windows Phone device, or what have you. So I'm going to save this, go back to the phone. And I'm going to add one more item. So let me just do that again. So I'm going to add an item. And now that custom code that we just added on the server is going to get it and automatically push it down, just syncing across all the devices. So with mobile services, it's really easy to do stuff like this, where you have a little bit of server logic that you need to have in your service. You need some backend, but you're not really a backend person, but you know JavaScript, so you can easily just make a JavaScript app in Windows 8 or an iPhone app, and just write little snippets of code on the server side to kind of make everything glue together and work. So I'm not always at my my Windows device or my iPhone device, and some of my friends don't really have smartphones, and it'd be really nice if I could also just reach out to other services. So I've talked a lot about integrating with SQL in Azure and integrating with the push notifications for Windows, but you can also just, since this is just node.js, you can do anything. If you can get an HTTP object, make an HTTP request to any service. You can pull in data from Twitter. You can pull in data from Facebook. Kind of anything that you can normally do in Node, you can do in this context as well. So whenever an item is deleted, I want to send a text message to everyone that says that the item is deleted via Twilio. So I'm just going to. So I'm just going to copy this code in here that is just regular Node, and I'm requiring the request package or module for Node, and just kind of going from there, doing HTTP request.post, posting to Twilio with a specific message that I pass in, and it will just send it to whoever is listening on the other side. So I'm just going to change this code to call it. And I will say send text notifications. Save. Come on, internet. All right. So now if I go back to the app, I don't have to restart it or anything because this is all on the server, and I can remove an item, and I'll hold my phone up at max volume for dramatic effect. Hooray! So now I got a text message that says, the item has been removed. So it's really easy to do interactions like this with mobile services, especially if you have an idea and you want to get to a prototype and get to production. It's really easy to get a Node app up and running in the cloud that's supported by multiple devices and kind of works seamlessly. So I have one more demo that I wanted to show, kind of along the same lines of this. So this is a Win.js app. And as you can see, this is kind of the one-line login that I mentioned with mobile services. So it's literally client.login Facebook. And you put everything in the portal, your API key and your secret, and we take care of the OAuth flow for you. And we just fulfill this promise once the login flow is completed with the auth token for Facebook, and you can do whatever you want with it. So in this case, I'm setting up a push notification channel from this app and just kind of listening for push notifications. On the server side, I'm doing something similar before. Which is now I'm just listening for texts from Twilio. So I have this function which will take a query, it's a GET request, and we'll pull out the from and the body and everything from the Twilio request and send push notifications to everyone who's in the system. And it's just this 18 lines of code or so to make this happen. And the few lines of code that are in the client, which is just kind of this bit. And let's see, we'll see if this works. I wrote this over lunch, so just kind of like seeing if the system works. So I'm just going to log in with my Facebook account. Don't say it. Okay. All right, so I'm logged in, and now this app is just going to start displaying any text messages that it gets to the system. So be kind, please. So but yeah, so this is all, just with like 18 lines of code. Uh-oh. Okay, I wrote this over lunch, so. Yeah. But yeah, so this is just with like 18 lines of code on the server to make this happen, and also, just like 2 or 3 actual lines on the client. So it's super easy to, to get situations or scenarios like this. So yeah, so it's really easy to make these, connected apps that reach out to other systems, save data in the cloud, sync across devices with mobile services. So I definitely encourage you guys to try it out. If you want to know more just about how everything works on the back end, feel free to hunt me down over in the Azure booth, and I will talk to you a lot about it. All right, so and as far as support, right now we officially support Windows 8, so WinJS, C#, and I don't know why you'd want this, but C++ for some reason. Windows Phone 8 support we also just released last week, and we've had iOS support for a little while as well. So if you're on any of these clients, it's really easy to make these mobile connected experiences. And unofficially, we do support Android through Mono Touch Project and Xamarin. Well, we don't support it, but they do. It's unofficial. Not supported by Microsoft. And also there are a few just kind of like ragtag stuff that people have put together to get HTML5 and browser JavaScript working with the backend in Azure Mobile Services. And it works pretty much the same way as you'd expect for WinJS, just slightly different platform. So, so thanks.